It does wonders. Ours is not to wonder why. No wonder nobody likes you. It works wonders. I wonder. He wanders, she wanders, we wander, they wander. It's basic stuff. Wonderful! The 7 wonders of the world. And this is a game I will have to play, even though I'll have to figure out a way to make it work. But the Panel de Pon or Tetris Attack series, I love those games. I've only played the American releases, and all that consists of is basically the Super Nintendo Tetris Attack. There is a Game Boy game. I never really did the handheld gaming, but there is that as well. And then for the Nintendo 64, there was Pokemon Puzzle League. But those are the only games. I don't know of any other ones that ever made it to the United States. I'm not gonna claim that no other ones ever did, but that's only speaking from my own experience that I don't know of any others that did. Okay, so I just have to get a green over there somehow. No, it would stop here, unfortunately. I'm gonna have to get that green one there too, though. Trying to think of how I want to do this. Suppose I'll do that. Make sure I get that. Oh, that makes sense. Clear off that, clear off that. And now I just need to figure out which ones I want to clear off manually or which ones I'd want to clear off this way, but I can just do that now. I only need to figure out how to clear off that one. But I'm more than happy to play those games on the channel, but the reason I bring those games up is they're similar to the Match 3 style of games in a general sense, but the big difference is that in these games, one, they create them in such a ways to make them more puzzle-like, and then second, once you move pieces that are playable, you can't interact with the board again until they're all cleared off. And so it can emphasize speed to some extent, but the game overall plays much slower on computer than it does through the console, through Super Nintendo and the 64's versions, through Panel de Pon. And to be fair, I grew up playing those games. I played them first before I ever touched a PC, or that'd be technically incorrect, but before I ever played any Match 3 games on computer. So I definitely have a bias. I have nostalgia. But yeah, I definitely enjoy the chaotic speed, the best way to put it is I just enjoy the speed of it. And I don't care how good a Match 3 puzzle game is, since none of them ever have a versus mode, they will never measure up in my eyes. I love versus mode. I think I'm gonna do it like that. that's my favorite mode in those games is the verses. They're so much fun, very addictive, and I can just play them over and over again. Now I will admit that it doesn't take me terribly long before, I need a break from the game. I'm not gonna lie and say I can just play it constantly. It's the best game ever, but I consider the Panel de Pon style of match 3 games to be up there as far as quality with the classics, at least with the match 3s. Now, Tetris, I think, is in its own class, and appropriately so. I think it does deserve to be held to a certain standard on its own. It is just so addictive, so simplistic, but so universal at the same time. But any other puzzle game, I don't even question as being on the same level. I feel that strongly about those games. That's why I find it so disappointing that they're not as popular, that they aren't as well known. I think it's a crying shame. I had to make a quick seat adjustment. But anybody watching this, are you at all familiar with these games? Have you played them yourselves? And if so, are you as fond of the versus mode as I am? Is that the mode that you're like, oh yeah, I understand exactly what you mean, love it, you're absolutely right? Or is it something else that catches your attention and that you find so enjoyable? And I'm sorry, again, if I'm not saying as much as I could be, but puzzle games do, even a simple one requires just enough concentration that it's hard to multitask. Which I guess that could be in part the reason why there aren't more puzzle game Let's Plays. And I'll admit, I don't know how well, I love the games, but I don't know how caught up in the gameplay I would be if I would lose the ability to talk completely. Because I don't want to honk my own horn. Is that an expression? Oops. I was actually trying to avoid that. But I guess I didn't avoid that, so my bad. But yeah, I think I know I'm pretty good at the games, but there's still only so much of it I can do. I'm trying to think of the right phrase. Yeah, there's only so much I can multitask with it. Playing games and commenting. I don't know how, I've never done it before. At least not in the general sense that I would be thinking of. I've played with friends and I've had conversations, but that's a slightly different scenario. Oh, that's what it means, the level 2 of 7. I was kind of confused by that for a minute. But anyways, that'll be for the future. I know I'll get around to it eventually. Oh, the main thing I was going to mention as a problem for is I grew up playing it on the Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64. I've emulated it before. I've tried it with the PlayStation controller. I've tried it with an Xbox controller on the D-pad, on both of them. And it just didn't feel right. And I couldn't play as good as I know I can. And there was just something about the feel of it. It didn't feel right, even though with the similarities between a PlayStation controller and a Super Nintendo controller, it's like, why doesn't this play the same? It doesn't feel right, and it drove me nuts. And I've played a lot of PlayStation games, so I don't know why I can't adapt, but that's just me complaining, as I tend to do. But anyways, In the next section, I guess we'll be going to Ephesus. Ephesus? Yeah, I guess that's how to be pronounced. But anyways, I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you around later, folks. And as always, fruit and doggy.